Hi there, this is Ronnie coming at you with a video. Something a little different. As people who watch my channel will know, I have two generic systems. All out generic rather than just that. And one of them is this, True20. And I thought I would do a small video. I will be doing another one for the other generic system I own at some point in the future. But for now, I thought I would do a video on the campaign settings that I own for True20 and why I own them. Haven't used them all yet, but I wanted to sort of say why I got them. So I'll get the fan-made one out of the way first. This is not an official one. This is True Force, which is a essentially True20 doing Star Wars, which I got. I mean, I got it as a PDF and printed it off myself, and I haven't used it yet, and I'm intrigued to use it, but I did a shootout between this and D6 Star Wars and Savage Star Wars, and it was a hell of a lot deadlier. It wasn't as cinematic. It was just brutal. But it depends on the kind of campaign that I want to run. But it is very interesting. I love Star Wars as a setting. Love the films. Yes, I do like Last Jedi. Sorry guys if you don't like it. Yeah, but I do. I thought it was alright. Perfectly good film. And I'm intrigued to use this one. I think where it would stack up well compared to D6 Star Wars and Savage Star Wars is character creation, because you'll get a lot more skills and a lot more depth out of the box at first level. So I think there's more sort of, you can start with a more interesting character, a bit more depth. And depending on the kind of campaign I want to run, I might use it. But I'm happy to have it because it's interesting to sort of compare and contrast between different versions of Star Wars. This one is Mecha Genesis. Now, there's a friend of mine, Caroline, who loves Transformers. Not sure if she likes the movies so much. She certainly likes the old 80s animated series. And I was intrigued to get this one, partially because it was on sale. I have to say, that edged it. Mecha Genesis is essentially, we couldn't get the license to do Transformers, let's do something kinda like it. So you have two warring factions. They are big robots, but they can turn into vehicles. There's a nice bunch, there's a not so nice bunch. You know, it's Transformers with the serial numbers filed off, to use Kurt Weigel's expression. I haven't used it yet, and I really want to, because I'm fascinated. But I'd love to get Caroline in a game of it, because I think if anyone was going to really get the best out of it, would have to be someone who really, really was into Transformers. I mean, you could easily do the Autobots and Decepticons with these rules, you know, no problem at all, without too much trouble. So that's why I got that one. I was intrigued to see how I was going to do it. I'm very intrigued. The only one I haven't got, which just jumps out at me, well actually there's two, but I'll get to that in a minute, but one of them is Mecha vs Kaiju, which for anyone who sort of is interested in manga and anime will recognise the style straight away of great big robots controlled by people tearing into great big monsters. And for those people who aren't sort of knowledgeable about that, you may have seen Pacific Rim, which was essentially that idea sort of writ large on screen by Guillermo del Toro. But I'm tempted to get that one, but again, whether I get a chance to use it. I couldn't resist this one actually. This is Legends of Excalibur, and it's, in essence, it's trying to sort of shrink down Arthurian legends so you can play it using True20. Now, I own 4th edition Pendragon, and whilst I absolutely love it, and you know, it remains in my top 5 of games, you come in with 4th edition Pendragon, which is about this thick, and it can scare people off. And I saw this again, it was going cheap. I have to say that most of the True20 campaign settings I've gotten because they're cheap. I like True20. I just wish it had been more supported. But I was intrigued by Legends of Excalibur. I wanted a sort of fantasy setting for True20, over and above Blue Rose, which is its own setting and has the rules built in. And when I saw Legends of Excalibur going for a nice price, I went, yeah, we'll go for that. I kind of like that idea of doing that. From what I've seen of it, it looks very good. I'm very tempted to use it, rather than just strip mining it for stuff. Then there's this one, Luxaturnum, which is, as you can see from the cover, it's Musketeers in space. There is another sci-fi setting called Reign of Discordia, which has also been released for Traveller, and I think the OGL has it as well. And Reign of Discordia is the other one that I would be interested in getting. The only thing that puts me off is the fact that it's never been released in print. There are places that can do print copies of PDFs, and I'd be tempted to use them, but it's slightly annoying because it's a kind of sort of straight up sort of sci-fi setting, whereas Luxaturnum is very much Renaissance France in space. I was sold by the cover. I love the Musketeers, and I like sci-fi, and the idea of sort of marrying those two certainly intrigued me. I had the PDF already. I'd bought the PDF and had a look through it, and again this came up for a nice price, and I thought, sod it, I'm just going to buy it. Very much want to use it. I'm looking at, I'll probably use that at some point this year. I just like the idea of the ships are, you know, they are like ships in space. Very similar, for those who have seen it, to the Disney animated film Treasure Planet, which I think is rather underrated. I actually thought that was a very enjoyable, interesting reimagining of Robert Louis Stevenson's novel. But I want to try and see if it will work. I think it will. And just, you know, the idea of a musketeer with a laser, you know, sort of lightsaber, literally, you know, a dueling, you know, a kind of musketeer's sort of dueling rapier saber thing, but it's laser. It's just, yeah, absolutely. I just love the notion of it. Right, this one I have used and I have talked about it before, is Shadows of Cthulhu, which again came up at a decent price. I was intrigued to see how True20 would handle Cthulhu, and I think it does it okay. I said at the time, and I stand by it, that I think if I was going to run Cthulhu again, I would probably just use Cthulhu rather than True20. But I don't regret getting Shadows of Cthulhu. I don't regret giving it a go. It's a good system, and it works very well, actually. It saddens me that True20 didn't get more love. I think it could have been a lot more successful than it ended up being. I think there could have been more support for it, but you know, such is life. But I think it's excellent. I don't regret buying any of these, particularly as I got them cheap, and they intrigued me. As I say, there's a couple of others that might grab me. If I had to pick between one of the two that I haven't got yet that I've got more of an eye on, it would be Reign of Discordia. Mecha versus Kaiju, I could pretty much take or leave. But Reign of Discordia is one that I'm intrigued at more. So that's me. I just wanted to throw in a little video. The other generic system, when I do that video, it will be somewhat longer because I have a few more campaign settings for that one. But that's me for this. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon with another video.